Welcome, everyone. I'm Joel Levin. I'm the Executive Director of Plug-in America. We are the National Association of Electric Vehicle Drivers. We represent the more than 2 million EV drivers on American roads, and we are committed to growing rapidly the number of EVs on our roads today in a way that benefits the public and consumers. So today represents a new day for our transportation future. We're fresh off of a successful National Drive Electric Week in which more than 100,000 people participated safely in events across nearly every state in the country. This historic event further illustrates that Americans want EVs now. It means so much to Plug-in America to know that we have a secretary and a president that stand behind, and they're helping to usher in an electric transportation future that is prosperous, equitable, and sustainable. Our shared vision consists of a multimodal future for electric transportation as cars and pickup trucks, bikes, motorcycles, public transit buses, school buses, medium, heavy-duty vehicles all begin to build a new transportation system that's better for our citizens and better for our planet. Thanks to Secretary Buttigieg, that future begins now, and it's on display here today. What's left is for Congress to show the same vision and pass robust legislation that fully funds our electric future. Our economy, our health, and our world depend on it. So I want to tell you a secret. This is a secret that no one knows except for the 2 million people that are already driving electric. And the secret is that electric vehicles are better across the board. They're better. It's not like eating your broccoli because it's good for you. People drive EVs because they're more fun to drive. Ask any EV driver. They're cheaper to fuel, they're cheaper to maintain, and pretty soon they'll be cheaper to manufacture too. There's less to repair because they have so few moving parts, and they're better for our economy because your fuel dollars stay local, and of course they're better for the air and better for the climate. So thank you all. I'll stop there, and I want to introduce Ben Prochazka, who is the Executive Director of the Electrification Coalition.
Good thing I have quick hands, apparently, to catch things. So, my name is Ben Prochazka, Electrification Coalition. It is my incredible honor to be joined by Secretary Buttigieg and Climate Advisor McCarthy at this important and historic event. I'm honored also to represent a dynamic and talented team at the Electrification Coalition. For those of you who don't know us, we are a national organization that works to accelerate the electrification of our transportation system to help reduce the economic, public health, climate, and national security impacts due to the monopoly oil has on our transportation sector. We work at the state, local, and federal levels, and our work includes partnering with the USDOT to help launch and implement the Smart City Challenge, supporting city EV leadership with the American Cities Climate Challenge and Climate Mayor's EV Purchasing Collaborative, and numerous other projects across the country where we are electrifying transportation as we speak. I want to thank my team for their hard work and organizing for today's event. They worked tirelessly and meticulously to create an amazing EV display, and obviously all our partners in the industry who got your vehicles here, heavy and small. I also want to thank the USDOT staff for acting as our host and partner. They've demonstrated incredible and important work as civil servants, and so we really appreciate their efforts to help make this happen. Right now, we're competing in a global race to electrify transportation. But through the rapid advancements in battery and charging technology, it is now possible to electrify every sector of on-road transportation. From bikes to buses, cars, delivery vehicles, refuse trucks, semis, EVs are right now being built in our factories and are already delivering packages to our homes and are powered by domestically produced electricity. It really gives us the opportunity to change the future of transportation, and it's no longer a question of if, it's a question of when, and we have an opportunity to accelerate that future right now. Today in communities around the country, EVs are already meeting the demands of U.S. transportation. They're just doing it better and cleaner. But for the U.S. to maintain global automotive leadership, we must prioritize the policies and actions needed to accelerate transportation electrification in the U.S. As the debate in Congress continues over the bipartisan infrastructure deal and reconciliation, we are encouraging Congress to support policies that will ensure we not only drive electric in the U.S., but we build electric in the U.S. Congress must not miss our EV moment, and we are so excited and so honored to have the support of the administration, of Secretary Buttigieg, and Climate Advisor McCarthy to help support this incredible effort, and hope you all will enjoy the display that we have today. And now, with that, it is my great pleasure to introduce Climate Advisor McCarthy.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Joel, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for hosting this terrific event. You know, I'm sitting here listening to those loud, dirty trucks back there and thinking, man, they are so yesterday. They are so yesterday. Listen, I'm really excited to be here today to see this incredible display of clean transportation technologies and to talk about the ways in which we can work together to make all of these vehicles affordable and convenient for everyone who lives in this country. That is the goal, and we are going to meet that goal. You know, and the threat of climate change is real, and it is here, and it is now, but also we have this incredible opportunity to actually create millions of good-paying union jobs that are going to fuel this economic recovery and rebuild our middle class, and yes, build back better. You may have heard of that phrase once or twice. And look, it's an opportunity of a lifetime that we have available now, and we cannot let it slip through our hands. One of the key pieces of President Biden's Build Back Better agenda is supercharging America's ability to get more EVs on the road, to make them affordable for families and for businesses, and to install charging stations all across the country so that people know they can get where they want to go and back again in the coolest vehicles ever. And in the infrastructure bill, there is over $10 billion for investments in electric school buses and electric transit buses, just like the ones that you see out front today. They're going to clean up our air. They're going to keep our kids safe. They're going to help environmental justice communities get the kind of clean air that they deserve. It also includes $7.5 billion in investments that are going to help us build up our national network of 500,000 charging stations all across on our highways, our roads, and in our transit centers. And incentives for families so that they can choose these new clean vehicles, and for companies so they can adopt zero-emission trucks. Look, these are really exciting times, and we have to make sure that we keep working with Congress, because it's so important that we get the kind of investments we need to build the kind of transportation that is going to be the backbone of our economy moving forward. And for families, we know that cars are going to be essential. Getting to work, driving our kids endlessly to soccer games, going on road trips. We have to figure out how we get cars and trucks and SUVs and tackle our climate change challenge, even with motorcycles and electric bicycles. They're all on display here because they exist, folks. We can get them now, and we have to make sure that everybody has access to them and they're affordable. And we're not just talking about personal vehicles, obviously. We're talking about delivery vans and semi-trucks, even garbage trucks. And I know I was in an 18-wheeler with Secretary Granholm not too long ago that was electric. It was fun and very exciting. Look, transportation is critical. We know that. we can do better than we've ever done before. And we can also make sure that the batteries and the motors and all the parts in between are made in the United States of America. We need that supply chain here. And we need to make sure that as we grow in the future, that our automakers right here in the United States start announcing some huge investments, as they have been, in clean vehicles and this battery manufacturing. We don't want to just deliver them from somewhere else. You want to make them in the United States of America. So I am incredibly excited to be here. I'm grateful to everybody for making this happen. This is going to make sure that we can meet our obligation to deliver clean air, but also to have a transportation system that is second to none and have the great union jobs that come with manufacturing in the United States of America. So I cannot thank the Secretary and his team enough for all of their leadership. The Transportation Agency is stepping up big time, and we're making sure that electrification is the path to our clean energy future. So thanks, everybody. And at this point, let me make sure that we all give a rousing applause to Secretary Pete Buttigieg, not just for hosting today, but for being an incredible leader in this administration. We all feel it, we see it. He's going to be around for a long time. So let's make sure we welcome him to the podium today. Thanks.
Well, thanks so much, Administrator Advisor McCarthy. I was a fan of hers long before we came to be colleagues, and just so thrilled with the work that she is doing and leading together with her colleagues, and together, of course, with the leadership of the President, who is guiding this country toward a cleaner and stronger future. I want to thank Plug-in America, the Electrification Coalition, and CHISPA for their terrific work on this event, and more broadly, for everything that they're doing to make electric vehicles a priority. I'll be pretty short because really looking around us, you can see the story. And as was said before, the bottom line is that the future is electric. The question is when, and I would add, the question is how. The consumers and industry are clearly moving toward that electric future already. You see the adoption around the globe. So the questions are, how do we ensure that EVs are creating good jobs in our communities? How do we make sure that EVs are accessible to all Americans, especially those who would benefit the most from the fuel savings, which includes people in underserved parts of cities and in rural areas? And critically, how do we transition fast enough to make the impact we've got to make against climate change? Now, since the very first day, the Biden-Harris administration has been working to meet these challenges. President Biden set an ambitious target, which we announced together early this year: 50% of new car sales zero emission by 2030. My department is working to increase the fuel efficiency of the average vehicle fleet by 12 miles per gallon by model year 2026. And this summer, we awarded $182 million toward low and no emission buses and the facilities that support them. All of this means less pollution in the air, healthier communities, and so much gas money that Americans can save. So we're doing everything that we can to address this climate challenge, but we know that the scale of our challenges and opportunities require that we do a lot more. It's why in the President's historic bipartisan infrastructure legislation making its way through Congress right now, we have an opportunity to modernize our infrastructure and reduce emissions and pollutions in our system, including building out a network of 500,000 electric vehicle chargers, like those that you see behind us, all over the country. I think we can agree that when you see the vehicles around us, you want to drive them. In fact, the DOT is welcoming a new electrical fleet, or part of our fleet, into the lineup right now, trying to walk the walk as a fleet owner, as well as at the policy level. And I know there's more where that came from. I also just want to point to the range of vehicles that exist. Everything from mopeds to garbage trucks. And as you know, as a former mayor, nothing warms my heart more than seeing an excellent, clean garbage truck. We've got school buses. We've got transit vehicles. And we've got every kind of light-duty vehicle, too. So we have a huge opportunity in front of us. It's not going to happen on its own. But if we get it right, it will be quick enough, widespread enough, and it will be made in America, creating good jobs across the U.S. And it's up to us not to take our foot off the accelerator in making sure we get that done. I'm so proud of the work that's going on around here. We're proud to support it as a department. Again, so many of the displays around here speak for themselves, but I'm happy to take a few questions while we're here.
What about hydrogen? The range for Class 8 heavy-duty trucks isn't that great. Class 8 trucks also take a lot of megawatts to charge. Have they been left out of the picture, or how do you plan?
Yeah.
That kind of general.
No, certainly part of the picture, and we see different use cases calling for different fuel sources, right? The bottom line is to make sure we get to zero emissions, and there have clearly been a lot of advances with hydrogen, depending on the use case, depending on the type of vehicle, along with the electrification that we're so excited to point to today. Well, obviously, these are the exact things that are being negotiated in Congress right now. What I can tell you is that we as an administration, of course, believe passionately in electric vehicles in general, and we believe passionately in union jobs in particular. And so we're going to continue to advance policies that encourage both of those. Wow, this group is almost as quiet as an electric garbage truck. That's great. Yeah. Not familiar with that specifically. He's welcome to call me if he's concerned. Look, we are responsible for making sure that every vehicle on the road is safe. And very proud of the announcement of the nominated NHTSA administrator, Steve Cliff, who's going to do a terrific job, has already been doing terrific work at this department. And we're proud of the track record that this department has in making sure that Americans have confidence, whether you're getting into a new vehicle from a new company, or whether you're in a vehicle from one of our most long-standing storied names in auto manufacturing, that is going to be safe. And we will continue, especially as we approach this era of new forms of propulsion, of automation, that we take seriously our ability to ensure that safety so that consumers have that confidence. And by the way, it is good for business that consumers have that kind of confidence when they step into a vehicle. All right. Yeah.
States start mandating electric fleets by a certain time, and if they do that, are you worried you'll get problems in the supply chain like at the ports because you don't have enough electric trucks to service those ports?
Well, look, obviously states have their own ways of making decisions, but we want to make sure we're leading by example at the federal level. That's why on everything from our comparatively small fleet of DOT-owned vehicles to what you see going on with the future of the Postal Service and the work that's going on in DOD, that we're leading by example. I'm inspired when states do the same thing. Let me also add a lot of cities and a lot of MPOs and a lot of transit agencies. They're not waiting for Washington to go ahead and make their own moves. I think that's great. Yes, it is prompting supply to race to keep up with that demand, but that in turn I think is part of what's going to make it possible not only for a global industry, but for a US-based industry in the whole electric vehicle supply chain to flourish. So thanks again for being here. This is really exciting for us. I should add that I'm excited to rejoin the ranks of the electric vehicle chargers. Chasten and I, now that we're dads, have traded in our vehicles for a dad van that is a plug-in hybrid, which is just a really exciting thing. And again, want to make sure every American can take advantage of those fuel savings and emission savings that come with going electric. Thanks again for being here, and thanks to everybody for your leadership.